This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, and we are now back on the air, back online, back in business. I'm testing out this new microphone/recording device, so I do hope it works out okay. I suppose you can say is the ultimate test of its abilities on recording, of course. I'm doing this show outdoors, not in a parking lot or anything. I'm in a house, my house. And just gonna see, it's a little blustery outside. It shouldn't be too much of an issue because I've done night walks and walks where it's a little windy before, so I don't think it'll detract too much in any regard. Perhaps people can say it adds to the aesthetic. Who knows? I bet there's videos out there somewhere that have, a 10-hour recording of wind blowing through some leaves and branches and foliage. And, some people like it, but it ought to be background noise. Should this recorder do its job, my voice will be the loudest thing in the recording, and maybe then some of the wind, but, anyways, I'm back in business, and this is a special VORW, talking about really the milestone of 100,000 subscribers in my channel, and I'm also going to talk about some random things too, but, I'll explain also for some other reasons why this VORW isn't your standard one in some ways. I'll explain that. Let me just check the microphone first. It's supposed to be the exact same model as the last one, but sometimes they have very slight variances and how they perform, etc. So let me just check, make sure it's still recording here, because if it's not, I'm talking to nothing. So let's check right here. It says recording for 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Still recording, so it looks like we're good. And we're ready to do this. So first and foremost, I'm just going to let this take its natural flow. I'm just going to let it take its course. So what I want to talk about first really is what happened with the microphone. Now, some people may be aware of what happened, some may not. I was going to originally make a video about it, kind of talking about it, but then I decided, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't think it really needs a video. So I just left a comment in one of the reviews, and a lot of people saw it, but some people didn't, and that's perfectly fine. I don't expect everyone to suddenly check out this one specific review and look at this one specific comment. I don't expect that, and that's fine. But really what happened here was there was an issue with the last recording device. Now, I don't, carry around a giant microphone and something the size of a toolbox or anything like that to walk around and record this show with. I use a very simple piece of technology here. It's called a Sansa Clip MP3 player/recorder. It's a fairly inexpensive piece of technology. It's not the newest thing in the world at all. This specific model is from around 2009 or so. And, back then, especially back in the late 2000s, the objective of all these technology companies was the smaller the better. You made your phones small, and your MP3 players even smaller. That was back when MP3 players were a thing, of course. And, everything was really, really small. And they were saying, well, the future, it's going to be, you're going to be sitting there one day watching movies on your fingertips, because we just like it that small. Well, that, of course, has changed. Now you see smartphones are bigger, but I don't think it's going to really get any bigger than it already is. And things have gotten a little bigger since then, because people have realized things being so small, it is somewhat impractical, and there's nothing wrong with actually having a screen or something decently sized. Doesn't need to be miniature. There's nothing wrong with it having, some size to it. So, anyways, I've been using this little black MP3 player/recorder. Also comes with an FM radio too on it. You can look it up, you know, Sansa Clip Mini, you know, whatever they call it. Sansa Clip, I guess. Doesn't really hold too much info by today's standards, about a gigabyte worth, but for just me using it for the purpose of recording, that's more than enough. You know, I only record per show maybe between 200 and 800 megabytes worth of sound, so it's fine as it is. So anyways, despite it being 6-7 years old at this point, the voice recorder really did hold its own, even today. For something so small, you can just put it in your shirt pocket. Very, very small, very maneuverable. As I said, again, inexpensive. Used to be like $200 when it came out. Now it's only down to maybe $50 a piece. 50, 75, 100 probably new. So it is cheaper too. And I just like it. It does a good job still. It has good, clear, crisp audio still. And it's sensitive, but, you know, if you hold it the right way, it's not sensitive to a fault. Not one of those microphones that if you talk into it, it'll pick up your every single breath. It won't necessarily do that, and that's a good thing. So it does a great job, especially for what I'm doing here. It's the perfect microphone for me. I can pick it up, I can walk around with it, I can talk, and it just works great for what I do. You know, I don't need some $5,000 microphone for just this. So really, it does an excellent job, and that's why I like it so much. I got some, sorry to jump topics, I got some drinks out here. I got in one cup here some ice water. In another cup I got some cherry vanilla Pepsi. Let me take a sip of that. Delicious. And there's a cat going by. Hello. Goodbye. Anyway, so I've been using this same microphone ever since I started the VORWs, really. It's all I've been using. And about a few weeks ago, I guess late September, I started up the next VORW. I presume VORW 132. That's it, 132, I think it was. Whatever one this number is, really. And I started it up. It was very early October. No, it was late. I forget. Late September. Late September it was. It was one of the first days of fall. I remember that. And I was going. I was on a roll here. You know, I turned on the microphone, set it to record. I talked at first for a good hour and a half. Gave a great lecture. And I don't usually say that, but it was a good job. I thought it was one of my better lectures. I was really on a roll here, you know. I had a train of thought, and I was just going with it. And I was talking about, you know, the CNN money feature, and I'll mention that too. You know, media opportunities, making the best of a bad situation, everything in between. It was a great lecture. I'll get to that in a minute, but it was a great lecture. I thought it really was a good one. And then I jumped to Shortwave. I was talking about, you know, the Shortwave stations and, you know, some different things with that. And then I got to my question. I was still going. Then I started reading some letters. Took a little break, paused it. Then I recorded for an additional hour and 45 minutes. So at that point, I had almost 3 hours of tape right there. Okay. I must have read about 40 letters, responded to them. It was going to be a good VORW show. So I stopped recording, and I say, okay, well, I'm done for the night. I did a decent job here, so we'll call it a night. I'll get some sleep, and then tomorrow morning I'll wake up again, and I'll, you know, get the computer set up, and I'll read some more letters, and record them around maybe 7 a.m. when I'm up. Nice early morning VORW. Get it done, get it to the computer, get it together, get some nice fan art going, and then I'll upload it for all of your enjoyment. Right? Sounds like a good plan. So, you know, this is where the fatal flaw was, but instinctively, this recorder has never given me problems before. So I thought to myself, well, why do I need to transfer all the files to the computer right away? Normally I don't. I let them sit on the recorder for a little while, and then when I'm done with everything, or if I need more room, then I'll transfer it to the computer. But I don't do that immediately. I learned my lesson since then, of course, but I didn't transfer anything to the computer, so I wake up the next morning, get dressed, wash up, bring the computer out, bring my radio out too, in case I want to do a little shortwave listening before or after I'm done recording, and get the little recorder, get a drink, and I go out, set up, and then I try to turn the recorder on. No response. Well, okay, sometimes it can be, maybe it can be a little, who knows, it might be old, maybe the little switch I kind of push to turn it on might be a little, who knows, so move the little switch up again to the on position, hold it for about 20 seconds. I think, well, this has happened before once or twice, so I imagine, it'll work now. No response again. Well, maybe it's out of power. Maybe, I have to charge it up every now and then. Maybe it's out of battery. But I remembered the night before, it had still about half energy, 50% left. And I did shut it off, so that couldn't be the issue. I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe there's something wrong with it there. So I get the little charger, plug it into the computer, which it charges from. Absolutely nothing. So after much experimentation, trial and error, I realized this device is inoperable, and it is, in every regard, broken, beyond repair. I was frustrated, to put it mildly. I was. I thought, I can't believe it. I lost this entire VORW. I can't record anything else. I mean, my manual, the analog recorder I used a while back, a couple months ago, I think July or so. That's not even down here. I have that 500 miles away. No way to get that. So I'm dead in the water. Can't do anything. I lost the entire contents of this VORW. If, for whatever reason, I magically get this recorder, the other one, working again, I'll plug it in, I'll get those files up, and I'll upload it. It'll kind of be like a ghost VORW. It'll be the little VORW show that actually wasn't a VORW show. But I'll upload it anyways for the lecture, especially, and for all of your listening purposes there. But otherwise, well, it's gone. It's lost. I still kept the little recorder for as a memento, really. It's a nice little thing. It helped me through many years, and I thought, I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to keep it. You never know. Maybe it'll be able to get resuscitated one day. But until then, I need an immediate replacement, and I want to get one that's exactly the same. And even if its own lifespan is only about 6 years of usage, I can still get a few more years out of one if I get one in almost mint condition. So I search and I find one, and really thanks to your Patreon support, I was able to amass a little fund I can use in times like this especially, so I was able to cough up the money right away, buy a replacement, and I got that shipped out. It should have been here earlier, but the hurricane kind of delayed that by a couple days. Well, anyways, we got it, and looks like it is working okay. I'm going to check again. I might do this a little more than usual, just checking to make sure that it's still recording, just due to the fact that it's new. It could still have its own flaws that I don't know of, so I just want to check and make sure that it's satisfactory, at least. Another sip. So let's just check right here. Yeah, still going, alright. Looks like it's working fine so far. That's good. Gonna pull a chair here and gonna sit down for a little bit. Okay, good. So we got that taken care of now. So this is the first VORW in a while. I really didn't mean that. I wanted to get back on a VORW schedule. You know, I feel like in August, all the crap that happened there, which is over now, you know, people are still making a meme out of it, but it's over now. It's done. It's done. It's fine. But because of that, really, I wasn't able to do a VORW. So I said, alright, I'm going to redeem myself in September and look at what happened, you know, screwed up. I know I guess it's not my own fault, but maybe if I did a better job maintaining it or something, it wouldn't have happened, I don't know. So, I apologize there. I really do. This VORW is only going to be me talking. No letters, but the next one, the next show, it's going to be 90%, 95% fan mail, because I know people really did work hard on these letters, and they wrote in, they dedicated their time and effort with the expectation that their letter would be read and thereafter responded to. And I'm not gonna give up on that. Even if the letters were a month old, I'm still gonna read them. I'm still gonna respond to them all. But that's gonna be for the next show. The next show is gonna be, as I said, very, very fan mail centric. Okay? I'm gonna start it off with a very brief intro, and then after that, it's gonna be just letters to read and respond to. So that's what it's gonna be in the next show. But this one, you can say this is all the talk that the next show won't be having, and this is just gonna be my own monologues and lectures in this program. Anyways. So that's what I have there. Before I get to the meat of the show, which again, it's going to be talking about the channel and some different things pertinent there too. Let's talk about some miscellaneous topics. The hurricane, of course, Hurricane Matthew. It was a very strong hurricane, Category 5 it got to. If you're familiar with the, the hurricane scale, Hurricane 5, of course, is the strongest. There's no such thing as a Category 6 storm or anything like that. So Hurricane Category 5 is the strongest it will get. But it was only a Category 5 storm just for a very short period of time. It was, however, a Category 4 storm that hit the island of Haiti very, very severely, causing extensive damage and lots of lives lost. Of course, at least over 1,000 dead at this point. Unfortunately, probably more bodies will be found every day. And then it kind of really grazed Cuba. Cuba was spared a direct hit. Passed through the Bahamas. It really did hit the Bahamas hard, but the Bahamas, their architecture is very good at withstanding these storms, so they really made it through pretty good. And then it was coming right at Florida, and everyone flipped, you know. You had Governor Scott saying, you gotta get out of there, power will be lost. You had that guy on Fox News saying that you're gonna die, and your kids too, if you stay in the path of the storm. And by every account, it looked like this was going to be a direct landfall of a Category 4 hurricane, extremely severe storm. It's going to hit the coast of Florida and have catastrophic damage to the region. You leave, when you come back, your home is going to be a pile of rubble. I mean, you may not be able to access it for weeks. It is going to be all destroyed. So you better get what's important to you and get out of there. or else you're going to die. I'm not saying it was media hype. Granted, no matter what happens, there will be hype from the media. But this legitimately was an extremely strong storm on a direct trajectory to making a coastal landfall. Now, I'm not on the coast, okay? I'm not on the coast. But, should this storm make a landfall, I'd still be in that cone of at least some hurricane-force wind gusts. Not sustained, at least. I'm not that close to the shore. I do like to travel around the state, but I'm not that close to the shore. But it would still get bad if it made landfall, so I said I gotta get out of here, you know. I'm not gonna be one of those people that pretends to be extremely hurricane savvy and knows what to do, because New York doesn't get a lot of hurricanes. All I remember really is Hurricane Floyd, that was in the late 90s, and then really Hurricane Irene in 2011, and Hurricane Sandy in 2012, and that's it. But I said, you know what, I'm not hurricane savvy, I'm not going to pretend I am, and I'm not going to play dice with Mother Nature. So I'm going to play it safe, I'm going to get out. So I did, I packed a suitcase, got some things, and got out of there, went to a city on the opposite end of the state. And then I find out, the hurricane, well, the eye of the hurricane, which is where the strongest winds are, just grazed the coast, didn't make landfall, just passed up, and everything's fine in the end. Well, a lot of, you know what, it is a blessing, though. It is in the fact that, that everything got spared in the end. But as a result, I think there was no one knew. That's the thing. You know what? No one knew. Hurricanes are very, very unpredictable storms, and just no one knew. No one knew that it wasn't actually going to make landfall on the Florida coast. There was still damage and power out and lots of debris, but nothing catastrophic. At least in Florida. Now, the Carolinas and even parts of Virginia, well, they got it pretty rough. They did. But that's a different story. So nonetheless, we avoided the direct impact of the storm. Good news there. And now things are essentially back to normal. Power's up. Everything's good there. Internet's working fine. Roads are passable. Fast food places are open. All's right in the world. Theoretically. There are some shortwave broadcasts that were special for the hurricane. This is the first time in my shortwave listening career that I was actually in a target area of the Voice of America. Because the Voice of America is a shortwave station that simply provides news and information. They're not one of these stations that's just, I call it a DX station, which specifically targets the hobbyist community. And that's a station like the mighty KBC. It's a good station, It's a good station, but it's only targeting, essentially, hobbyists of shortwave. I like to make a comparison of shortwave radio to steam engine trains, and I know it sounds silly, but I always think, if steam engine trains, there's a lot of hobbyists in the train world still that like seeing these steam engine trains that bring you back in time to the 1800s, and you can go to some communities in the U.S., and they'll have a steam engine train that'll bring all the tourists around the block a few times, and everyone will be happy. But there's very, very few places where steam engines on trains are still seriously used. Alright? Very, very few. But there are some areas in rural China where they still are used. And people will specifically go to see these steam trains because they're the last ones that have a serious usage. even though they can go see, even though they can see pretty much the same exact thing in the U.S., but it's just for tourists. So, in terms of shortwave stations, there's some stations which just appeal to the hobbyists intentionally, and then there's a few that use the medium to seriously provide news and information, not for hobbyists, but just for listeners, especially in third world countries and war-torn areas, or in regions where there may be catastrophe. And I always try to go for these stations. Those are like the Voice of America, the BBC World Service, Deutsche Welle, Radio France International. Those are the stations which still use the medium of shortwave, not for hobbyists, but for, listeners in Africa and Asia, not in North America or any of that. They don't care about hobbyists. They just want the people who, actually get serious news from it, because they got mortars landing 2 miles from their house, and they have no power and water or television or internet, and all the FM stations are down, all the AM stations are government propaganda, and they got nothing else to listen to and have no way of getting news that can save their life. So there's a difference with some types of shortwave stations, and the VOA is one of those stations. And I'll be able to hear their broadcasts on a daily basis, but never with really strong signals. They'll always have a lot of fading in them, a lot of static and weaker signals. But sure enough, for the first time in my shortwave listening career, I actually found myself in the direct target area of a Voice of America transmission. They are on 3 frequencies, roughly 24 hours a day in total. Broadcasts specifically for the hurricane. They're on 7305 kilohertz, 7405 kilohertz, and 9565 kilohertz. And at the top of the hour, they would have English news, and then 30 minutes past the hour, they'd have a broadcast in Creole as well. And in between these newscasts, which were about 15 minutes apiece, they would play popular music from the U.S. And they had these broadcasts, which were beamed from North Carolina, south, targeting Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, and Haiti, really. For listeners who would, be pulling out the wind-up crank radios that come with AM, FM, weather band, and then shortwave as well. So when people are suddenly breaking out the old radio for the first time when the hurricane hits, they'll be able to tune to this station on shortwave, which has something other than Brother Stare, which was telling everyone that you guys deserve the hurricane because you're a bunch of sinners and you're all going to die and go to hell. So that's why the VOA had these special transmissions. But that said, I was able to pull out my receiver, put it on the table here, and I was able to hear the Voice of America with the strongest, clearest signals I've ever heard them with. I mean, it sounded like a local AM station. I mean, if you're in your car, you tune the car radio to, a local AM station, you'll hear how it's just compared to other AM stations on the dial. This one is just booming in, crystal clear, super loud, almost FM quality, not quite. It still has that analog hint, but no static, no fading, nothing, just crystal clear audio, very loud, booming in. And that's what these broadcasts were like. I mean, just the loudest and strongest I've ever heard the VOA. So that was great to hear. They had them going all day and night for a couple days during the duration of the storm. And that was the only station I listened to, really, while this was going on. The Voice of America on shortwave. And I bet a lot of people did too when the power went out, especially. Even people who don't even know what a shortwave band is, they probably, might have had their radios out and just would have searched around for any signal and could have settled on the VOA. So anyway, those are great broadcasts, and great for the Voice of America to actually utilize shortwave radio still and be able to realize and recognize that it still is applicable in a disaster situation. So anyways, I was listening to that continually. And then they discontinued the broadcasts when the hurricane was over, but then 2 days ago, they realized, well, shoot, Haiti is still not doing good. I mean, yeah, a lot of the U.S. and even Bahamas, Cuba, is doing pretty well now, but Haiti is not doing that well, so maybe we should bring back some broadcasts. So they added 2 frequencies now. I believe 11,720 kilohertz and 15,220 kilohertz. Might be 11,770. Might be that one. But I know the second frequency is 15,220 kilohertz. And these broadcasts are exclusively in Creole for 30 minutes. From 1900 to 1930 UTC. Alright, that's 1900 to 1930 UTC. Let me just check. That's from 3 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Of course, for listeners in the U.S. that don't speak Creole, doesn't matter. I mean, you can listen, but you won't understand it. But if you still want to get a chance to hear the VOA with some crystal clear signals in the U.S., because again, they're going to be beaming them down with 250 kilowatts apiece from North Carolina down to Haiti, and those broadcasts aren't just going to suddenly land on the island of Haiti and Dominican Republic, of course, and not just going to only encircle that. You're going to be able to hear these broadcasts just very, very strong up and down the East Coast and even into the central western United States. So if you want to hear the VOA with some very strong signals, there's your chance. Dr. Kim Andrew Elliott, who works for the Voice of America and really is the link for shortwave listeners to know and find out new information about the VOA in terms of their broadcasts and transmissions. He stated that these broadcasts don't have any set expiry, meaning he doesn't know when they're going to cancel these transmissions, but if you do want to listen, best thing to do is to do so right away. So again, from 3 to 3:30 in Creole. And if for whatever reason you are a listener to VORW in Haiti, I sincerely doubt it, but you never know. There are listeners from all over the world, and if you are Haitian, if you do speak Creole, if you're trying to learn the language, and you want some news from the VOA on your shortwave radio, which if perchance you do have, when I have a chance to listen to their Creole service on shortwave once again. Frequencies 15,220 kilohertz, and then 11, either 770 or 11,720. That's what I got for you there, and that's your little shortwave update. We'll check once more to see if we're recording. Yes, sir, we are. Okay. So that's your little shortwave update. Everything else is going good in the shortwave world. Radio Argentina used to be called Radio Argentina Exterior. Now calls itself, I think, Radio Argentina Voice to the World, or something to that line. They're a shortwave broadcaster out of Argentina, of course. 100 kilowatt transmitters, I have a few of, sitting there. And they have a national radio, and then they also have an international service as well, which they relay to Europe and North America. But they've always had a problem with their signals, you know. It's one of those stations, and you'll find this as a shortwave listener, that there's some stations that say they're targeting a certain region, but the signal just doesn't make it there. Or you'll find it and it's just a very weak carrier wave and nothing more. You can't get any audio from it. You can tell there's a signal there, but you can't get any audio. And that's not just the case with this one, but this is a good example of it. You know, Radio Argentina states, you know what? We have a broadcast to North America in English every night at 11 p.m. from 11 to 12. That'll feature news, music, and cultural programming of Argentina with 100 kilowatts beamed directly north to North America, as I said, on 11,711 kilohertz. And we also have a broadcast to Europe on 15,345 kilohertz in evenings for Europe. Doesn't make it in. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, it's 11 p.m. right now. How about we go over and check? Let's see. Let's see right now. I got my receiver out here. Let's just check for the heck of it, see if we can hear Radio Argentina. Let's do this. Put this down. Let's see. Let's see. 11711. Nothing. Just static. That's it. Nothing. You can't hear anything. So again, this is one of those stations that, for whatever reason, perhaps their transmitter might have a malfunction, their antenna isn't beamed the right way, just poor frequency choice, or whatever it may be. Maybe the signal's just too weak to make it in. But for whatever reason, their transmission doesn't actually make it really to North America. Or if it does, it's usually very weak most of the time. There's other stations that have the same problem. Radio Thailand has a North American service that never actually makes it to North America. Radio Philippines has a North American service that never makes it in. Voice of Korea, Korea North, doesn't make it to Eastern North America. South Korea, KBS World Radio, doesn't make it to Eastern North America except for a few months out of the year. You have a few others that are similar. And then you have some stations that inadvertently make it to North America, like All India Radio in the afternoons. They blast in on 9445. They don't even target North America, yet it makes it in perfectly fine. So, there's a few stations like that. But anyway, so they reaffirmed their commitment to shortwave radio, Argentina did. And they said, alright, well, we're going to recommit ourselves to shortwave. We're going to fix the transmitters. We're going to have better programming. English service 7 days a week. It used to just be Monday through Friday. And we're going to fix this, and we're going to get it up and get it going good again. We'll see. I'll monitor the station, and we'll see if there is any change in signal, and hopefully there is. I heard their station once, and only once, and the English programming was pretty good, but I never heard it since. This was over a year ago. And they still broadcast every day, but I try to listen, and nothing ever shows up. Nothing. I was able to hear their English program with a clear signal only one day. And it was pretty good. They had some news, had some good music, they had some Argentinian tango music, and they had some Argentinian rock music. The announcer was talking about the best pizza places in Argentina. He decided he wanted to talk about the origin of the semicolon for about 15 minutes. We read a little short story. Had some more news, a couple more songs, and that was their broadcast. But it was a nice change up from what usually is heard in North America. And I thought, well, you know what? I wish I could hear this station more often. I'd listen to it. It's a nice varied program. But it was just by luck that I heard it that evening. Sad enough to say. So be it, right? Well, anyways, I guess it's time to talk about the channel now. I'll, of course, link a little program guide in the description for people who wish to get that. So I'll do that, no problem. But I guess we'll talk about the channel now. That's really the meat of it. But I really don't have to rush for anything. If people want to hear me talk about the channel, I'll give them the little time to go ahead and forward to it. So no one's really missing anything. So I can talk a little more about anything else, if there is anything else to talk about. No, I feel like I talked about it already, but now I realize I didn't. You know, the CNN money thing, I'll mention that briefly. I realize I talked for an hour and 15 minutes about it exclusively, and that's gone. So I understand why I feel like I talked about it, but I never did, or no one would know, that I talked about it. Of course. Oh, well. Anyways, so of course there is the CNN money thing. I'll mention these two things. It'll be very abbreviated, because it just won't be as smooth as the last lecture. But, it's abbreviated. Of course, there's a CNN money feature on the channel. If you came here from the CNN money feature, I know it's late to say, but welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you listening. Great to have you here, actually. And the CNN money feature was just something fun to do. People were saying, why'd you do that? Why'd you sell yourself out to the media? Why'd you do that? Well, I'll take an offer if I can get one. It's fun to do. It's something that I won't get the chance to do again, most likely. Got some bird over there making that noise. Is that a squatch? Is that a frog? You hear that in the background at all? Forget it, it's Florida. There's animals everywhere. Spiders the size of cars. Snakes, scorpions. Pretty cute frogs, too. I like frogs. They're good. Lizards, too. They're solid. Anyways. But people were wondering why I did the CNN money thing. And the same reason I did the Tosh.0 thing. I have my doubts whenever I get these offers, which present themselves on occasion. I get my doubts, but I think, will I ever get something like this again? Will I ever get an opportunity like this again? And I say probably not. It'd be a memorable experience to do. It'll be a fun experience to do. And at the same time, you can use it and you can, help build the channel a little bit. We got a couple more viewers, too. Well, at the same time, hopefully having a fun time as well. So I thought, well, I'll do it. And I did it, and it was good. It worked out great, the CNN money feature. The interviewer, Mr. John Sarlin, did a great job. I thought he did a good job. He was a very nice guy. Very friendly, very nice guy. One little inside thing, though, that didn't make the cut. You saw, I guess they had some, I don't know, probably some issue with the rights to the filming or something. I don't know. Maybe the lighting wasn't good, who knows. But one interesting little piece of footage that wasn't shown in the actual film that was meant to be a significant part of it. The original idea of the footage of the CNN interview was going to be, we were going to do a sit-down interview. Then we were going to go to a fast food restaurant of my choice, which I settled previously. It was previously decided. I settled on Burger King. I'd review an item there at the establishment. I'd set up, review the item there. and then call it a day. So we did the sit-down interview, which was about 45 minutes in total. You can see how they condense it. So, did the sit-down interview. Then we went over to Burger King. Now talk about an anxiety-inducing experience. Imagine going to a Burger King at the heart of the lunch hour with a CNN, camera crew, and every damn person in the building's turning their head and looking at you. Now that's just plain scary. I'm not gonna lie, and I just had to say, just don't look at everyone. Just look at the camera. Just don't look at everyone, and it'll be okay. And but that's, I don't like going into crowded places as is, because I think everyone's looking at me. So imagine going in there with all these cameras, and now everyone's really looking at you. That's anxiety-inducing right there. But went in, filmed myself ordering and paying for this burger, filmed myself setting up, filmed myself reviewing it in the restaurant itself, and then we got another burger for the road, and then we filmed a little extra bit later, and then that was that. But that whole sequence at the Burger King was never actually shown. Again, I presume due to licensing issues. Maybe it was too noisy in there, who's to say. But maybe it just didn't turn out well. Anyone's guess. But anyways, in the end, it was a great little feature. I think he did a great job on it, and I think it worked out great. I do. It was fun, and it worked out, as I said, worked out great. And then, of course, and I thought I wasn't going to acknowledge this, but I'll talk about it. A lot of people, not a lot, but, say you get about, a number of comments from different people, shows that this, number of people, say the dozen or so, aren't the only 12 people. They're just a small minority that's actually vocal about it, but there's others that I'm sure feel the same way. A number of people have expressed their disgust over some recent doings in the comments section of my videos. And nowadays I consider there to be, well, there's two types of people that watch the videos. You have the ironic viewers and you have the unironic viewers. And I think right now it's probably 50-50. There are genuine fans. Some people on 4chan like to say otherwise. Like to say, Jesus Christ, they got 100,000 people subscribed to him, and every one of them's laughing at him behind his back. But, I don't think that's the case. I think there's more people out there that do actually support the channel. As I said, I think it's 50-50. There's people that watch the videos to laugh at them, and they post a good comment to just drive up morale so they can get more material. And then you have people that are really sincere. They either watch the videos for the reviews, or they watch them because they like them. But I'm not going to pretend that the base of ironic viewers doesn't exist, nor will I pretend that the base of genuine fans doesn't exist either, because both do certainly exist and both are there. But anyway, some people have been complaining and have been disgusted by the way the comments section in the videos has turned lately. They're upset by it. They say all I see now are just these ironic viewers leaving vulgar, potentially lewd comments that are just insulting and offensive, and just bring the demeanor of the videos and the channel completely down, and it turns this place into a cesspool And I hate looking at it. You know, the comments used to be so civilized, and now it's just turned to a rancid pile of insert expletive here. Now, why is that? It's all those Redditors coming in, right? No, I wouldn't say that at all. I think it's mostly because of that video that Elvis the alien made about me. And, you know, people came in droves after that. Look at le cringe, you know. The nails, the suit, the hair. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Oh my god, so cringy. Oh, bleep my bleep, bleep you, bleep this, bleep that, etc. Just, you know. It's how YouTube comment sections are. And my comment section wasn't that bad. But after Elvis made his video, of course, it all changed, and, you know, now that's how it is. And some of the long-time or serious viewers have complained, and they said, you know, I don't like it. I wish you'd disable comments like you used to. But I believe that everyone does have the right to free speech, and the right to exercise it. Just as you have the right to exercise your opinions of dissent, these individuals, unfortunately, deserve the same and have their right to leave their little troll messages, too. However, I suggest to anyone that does leave a comment expressing their disgust that if they want any sort of sense of, you know, the old times on the channel, that the VORW show is for you. I know the comment section on that will probably be no better at this point. I haven't done a VORW in a long time, but I bet there'll be 20 comments asking, OMG, dude, who the F's gonna listen to this? It's 2 hours long, man, or however long it is. OMG, shut the F up, no one wants to listen to you. OMG, it's so cringy, he's actually talking, dude. Etc. Yeah, that'll be there, granted. But I think the comments there will be more civilized. And the VORW shows themselves, at least I have the ability to control and kind of read the serious letters. Oh, you know, I always like to throw in some troll ones for laughs, but I don't like to necessarily pollute it. I try to, you know, avoid that vulgarity and degeneracy in this show. I try to make it more of the formal, clean show on this channel. But I recommend the VORW show. You know, you can say it's, you know, wholesome content for the whole family to listen to help go to sleep at night. People say with Elvis the Alien video, you gotta make a response to it. I mean, he just insulted you for 10 minutes. And you're just gonna sit there and take it? Well, it didn't bother me. I mean, insults used to bother me. Even in 2013, when people would, you know, call me autistic all the time, every day, on 4chan, on Fit. I'd be upset. I'd be genuinely angry. I'd say, no, I'm not autistic. There's nothing wrong with me. You know, you go to hell. At least I'd think that. I don't know if I ever said that, but that's what I'd think, and I'd think some other things too. You know, they said, F you too. And I'd get upset. I didn't like seeing that, but now I've just seen so much crap. I mean, so many things. I'm even compared to a year ago, I'm just unfazed by 90% of this stuff. The last thing for me was personal information, and after what happened this summer, I don't even care. It doesn't. So be it. It happens. You know? Used to bother me, but I've learned it just doesn't matter. Got more important things in life to worry about than some comments or what some guy says. Just more important things. You know, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be sitting here 100 years from now. My time is limited, and I waste it. I waste these precious days and weeks sitting there worrying. What a waste. I'm not going to be skydiving or anything, but at least I can live out my life with a peace of mind. So, I realize I just have better things to worry about and get all up in arms about. Worrying about online comments or what people say it's a waste. Getting yourself into useless drama is just a waste of time and resources. You got better things to do. Spend it on what you enjoy doing and not fighting all the time. So I didn't feel a response was necessary, and it didn't really bother me what he said. I mean, yes, he didn't understand what dry humor is most of the time. You know, he thought, you know, this guy, what's wrong with him? He's a tard or something. Doesn't realize I utilize a lot of dry humor in my videos. And I just am how I am. But that doesn't bother me. You know, people misinterpret things all the time. It's human nature. It's fine. And it didn't bother me. I thought to myself, you know what? I know some people would be insulted and offended by this video of his, or... You know, I know people would be. But I shrug. I think, you know what? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. You make the best out of what could otherwise be a bad situation. So, I thought, well, Elvis made this video about me. Things he said about me weren't nice, but guess what? I'm gonna get views from it, and I can use the money I get from these views to better the channel, put money aside for things like when this recorder broke, be able to buy one immediately. If I want to save some money for a shortwave broadcast, I can do that. And also, people are going to subscribe. I got around 500 subscribers that day from Elvis's video. Yeah, you know, 400 of them are just going to be ironic viewers, but you're going to get some genuine fans and viewers that came from Elvis's video too, that maybe came here to cringe but found that they actually liked the videos. So it's not all bad in the end. Nothing to get angry about. If anything, consider this a good thing. You're going to get some new genuine fans, and you're going to be able to get a little money too that'll be able to, you know, help the channel a bit. Be able to use that money now in case anything happens, be able to pay for gas to get to other places that you usually don't get to. It's a great thing. That's how I saw it, and I thought, you know, that's great. Good on you, Elvis. Thank you for the video. But that's how I treat it. If anything like this happens again, I honestly don't think it's gonna happen again. You know? I mean, you never know. There's a chance that someone like user Leafy is here could make a, you know, video about me, but if he does, it's not a bad thing. I think he's done with the food reviewing scene now after he made so many videos about Joey. And I know people, they always bash Joey, but he's a nice guy. Joey's a nice guy. He is. I know a lot of people look at him as my competition, but Joey's a nice guy. I used to know him back in 2013. I used to write to him sometimes when we were both smaller channels. And Joey, what a guy. He had a little notebook. He would write down all his subscribers and he'd give them shout-outs. And I watched his 100K plaque video. He's just a nice, sincere guy. I know we both have very different personalities and different means of doing things, but Joey's a good guy, and it's all in good fun. We're just here to review food. It's no bitter competition or anything, no sort of like rap battle war or something like some opposing rappers have, where they just hate each other's guts, and just all in good fun. We're just reviewing burgers, that's it. But he's a good guy, Joey is, and I feel for him that he was singled out by Leafy so much. Oh, well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'm done with this, so now we're going to talk about the channel, 100k subscribers, and I'll talk about the channel and some of the important events thereof, especially if you haven't really listened to the VORWs before, or if you haven't really known of the channel too well. I'll talk about its history right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Okay, took a brief little break there. I was talking for about an hour straight. And now we're back. Before I give the little story of the channel, you'd think I would have taken a sip before I turned this recorder back on from the pause setting, but I didn't. Oh well. But you think... Anyways, my bad. There were two items. I checked the computer in a couple minutes that I took to kind of catch my breath. And there are two shortwave news items. But there were two items of shortwave news that I thought were worth mentioning. The first, we'll go with three, and I'll make this quick because I do want to talk about the channel soon. I've kept you all waiting long enough. The first of which, in terms of good news on shortwave, Radio Algeria doesn't broadcast in English, just Arabic and French, which will be targeting West Africa and North Africa, has been using relays out of France to get their signal there. However, news has emerged that in the first quarter of 2017, construction of a transmitter site in Algeria with a 300 kilowatt shortwave transmitter will be completed, and their signals will now be strong and clear to West Africa in French and Arabic, so that they no longer have to be paying for costly relays every day, multiple times a day. So that's good news there. Good news in that regard. They also plan a second transmitter site with another 300 kilowatt transmitter for later in 2017 too. And they might even plan a third transmitter site for an external service as well. So Algeria is expanding their shortwave operations, keeping the bands alive a bit, which is good news at least. This one is semi-good news. It's not a full-time transmission. It's just going to be during October 24th and 25th for 3 hours in the afternoon. There's going to be a broadcast of the BBC World Service in DRM mode to Central America. I'll give the frequency in another VORW. That's later in the month, though. And then, unfortunately, the bad news of the shortwave of the three items that I had. The bad news is that Trans World Radio on medium wave, I know it's not shortwave, but it is a shortwave station. Their medium wave broadcasts to Europe on 1395 kilohertz are going off the air on January 1st, 2017. Going off the air, they're signing off forever, closing their transmitter site, so one less signal on the AM band or the medium wave in Europe. Now let's talk about the channel, shall we? So just recently, the channel celebrated 100,000 subscribers. And people treat 100k subscribers like it's a life-changing event. The road to 100K. I mean, people treat it like it's a life-changing event, and granted, I guess for the channel, in terms of channel image, maybe it is. Maybe people will say, oh, he's got 100K subscribers now. But for me, when it reached 100K subscribers, I felt exactly as I did when there's a birthday. Something happened, and I don't feel any different from it. Because no matter how many subscribers I have, 10, 10,000, 100,000, 250,000, whatever it may be, doesn't change how I operate this channel and how I manage it. I have an idea for this channel. I know what I want to do with it, and that's just what I'm going to keep doing. That's what I've always been doing with it. But no matter how I physically felt, I really truly am appreciative of each and every one of you, and I truly do feel thankful for all of you for your support, your continuous support, your new support, whatever it may be, in any way that it is. I really truly am thankful. I maybe didn't get completely giddy over it or anything, but the one real thing that I really did feel from getting 100,000 subscribers is really just a sense of gratitude just to all of you who do listen, who have been here with this channel through thick and thin. So as a result, I want to just talk about the channel, give a little history of it, and I know it's something I've talked about over and over again, and someone said, you sound like my old grandfather telling me his old World War II stories that I haven't heard for like the 20th time already. Yeah, I know. It's something that I do talk about pretty often. But it is something that is always changing. And because this channel is still going, there always will be new stories to tell. I'm just going to give a little story of this channel, tell you how I began, how the channel progressed, and where it is now, and where I hope it to be. I just think it's a fitting little topic to talk about for 100,000 subscribers. So it all began in really late 2010, where I got this little flip camera, the Flip Minnow HD camera. That's what they call it, the minnow, because it's small and it's like a little fish, like a little minnow, swimming around. Though the camera itself cannot swim, it's a camera. But I had this camera, this Flip Minnow camera, in late 2010. I didn't have a use for it, I think a lot of people everyone has a camera now on their phone. In 2010, phones did have cameras, but they weren't that good quality. So, nowadays you can use your phone and you can just film in 4K, which is insane. But in 2010, your phones had cameras, but you remember all those YouTube videos, that's the grainy, 144p videos. Extremely shaky, you could barely see anything. That's what a lot of phones back then, that's their kind of camera that it had. And if you wanted to get an actual video, you needed to buy your own camera. And flip cameras were the big thing back then. They were what you got. They were, somewhat affordable, but also offered decent quality filming. And I had this Flip Minnow HD camera, filmed in 720p, which again in 2010 was pretty good. Even today it's passable, but people expect 1080p nowadays, which is what I've upgraded to with a new camera. 1080p. But it did have the advantage of filming at 60 frames per second. And believe it or not, you can look at my very first video from almost 6 years ago, and that thing is in 60 FPS at 720p. It's crazy. Well, anyway, it all started out in late 2010 when I had this camera. But I didn't know what to do with the camera. I had this little Flip Minnow camera, but I didn't have a use for it. And I think some of us still have that. We have a camera or a recording device, like a specific camera, or we have the camera on our phone still, but we don't really know what to do with it, you know, make silly little home videos sometimes. Take selfies that we'll regret in 20 years. Whatever it may be. But we won't really do anything serious with it, you know. The usage of the equipment is just, you know, it's lighthearted. You know, you just want to make a fun little video with it, something silly, but not for any sort of serious usage. And that's what I was doing with this camera here. I had it, and I wasn't doing anything with it. I made a few silly little videos, you know, me walking around, talking, just being silly, that's all. I didn't really do anything with it, though. But what just happened to coincide with the attainment of this camera was a tinge of curiosity that I had with energy drinks. I was just naturally curious, and this emerged first in late 2010 and then really in early 2011. I was just so darn curious about energy drinks. I used to see these little stickers, some people would put them on like the street lights or something to kind of advertise it, or I'd see it, you know, on sportswear. Used to see that Monster Claw, and for a while I didn't know what Monster even was. I didn't know if it was some sort of like water, like it was maybe smart water, you know, like electrolyte enhanced water from the purest of the pure water sources, or if it was like an alcoholic beverage or what. I didn't know what Monster was, really. Nor did I really know what Red Bull was. I knew of it, but I didn't really know too much about it. But I was still curious. And what really put this curiosity to a... Sorry, kind of fumbled with it there. What really put this curiosity to a head was the advent of 5-Hour Energy. This was really one of the first energy drinks to have a national advertising campaign. And I remember their first ads, they had this office worker wearing a nice shirt and tie. He was going through the office, and they were showing, you know, his co-workers sleeping at the desk, barely going along, trying to have another cup of coffee, you know, the 12th cup of the day. And he said, you know what? We have a new product out that can bypass all of this. And you won't find yourself crashing at 2 p.m. It's called 5-Hour Energy. 5 hours of energy now. Low-calorie supplement. Easy to drink. And I thought to myself, wow, that's pretty crazy that you can just take this supplement and you can just be full of energy for the day. I can go with something like that. I wonder what it tastes like. And then I remember going to the supermarket one day, seeing the 5-Hour Energy, seeing what Monster looked like, Red Bull. I remember seeing Rockstar, Amp. I remember seeing all these energy drinks lined up like soda, you know, so many of them. I remember thinking, wow, you know, they have such exquisite packaging. They have all these promises. They're pretty cheap, too. I wonder what these taste like. I'm genuinely curious. Maybe I can write down the results of each of these that I try, just for my own curiosity. I'm just curious what they are, what they taste like, what they're like. Well, that's where the first idea of actually doing reviews came about. But I didn't make the connection of actually using the camera to film these reviews. Rather, I thought to myself originally, so I'd take these energy drinks, I'd write down my little findings on like a little chart on a piece of paper, and that's all I'd do with it, you know, just something I'd put in a little folder in my drawer, and it would just be like some little funny little thing to do, just for my own curiosity. Perhaps as like a semi-scientific study of my own. But I still didn't make the idea to connect the camera and the reviews and make my own little reviews and put them on YouTube. That all changed when I was browsing YouTube one day, and I remember watching this YouTube channel called Pizza Wars. Now this guy's channel's still up. I recommend you check him out. And I think he died. I say that so lightly, but I think the guy died or something. I have no idea. Because he just abruptly stopped uploading in 2012, stopped updating his website, no social media, nothing. I have no idea if he died. I mean, he could have gotten in a car accident, or maybe he just gave up on the internet. Maybe he just said, I'm done, I'm living off the grid. Maybe I'm just done with this Pizza Wars gig, I don't know. But there's a YouTube channel out there called Pizza Wars, where this guy, he did pizza reviews. He'd have a handheld camera, maybe like a camcorder, or maybe his phone, I don't know. Maybe a flip. He'd film over this pizza in view the entire time, and he'd just talk and give a review, eat it on camera. I thought to myself, you know what? That is pretty cool. And he had a bit of a following, too. I mean, it wasn't a ton, but he had like 10,000 subscribers, which I still think is a very good amount to have. Consistent, loyal fan base. And this is what he was doing. He had a nice little side job going, where he could just eat this pizza, talk about it, and just make it a hobby. And just share his thoughts on camera while he had a meal. I thought, you know what? I think that's cool as heck. I thought that's so cool. That it just gives anyone a voice. He's got a camera, and he can just give his own opinion and just share it with the world while he eats this pizza. I thought, you know what? That's awesome. That's when I made that connection. I saw this guy's channel. I thought to myself, wow, you know what? This guy knows what he's doing, and I wouldn't mind kind of joining in here and just trying these little reviews out myself. That's when the connection really got made, alright? Now, of course, that's when it all came together, and that's when I really did realize, you know what? This guy does these reviews, I want in on it. I have a camera here, and now I have this idea with the energy drinks. I can do this. So I thought, well, this is only going to be a short thing. Very temporary, to just say it. Very temporary. I thought, you know, I'll make about 6 videos or so. I'll share my thoughts on these energy drinks that I've been curious about. I'll upload them to YouTube, like this guy did, Pizza Wars did. And then we'll call it a day, and that'll be that. That's what I thought. So I got the camera. I went out, got some 5-hour energy. Originally, I got it in orange and pomegranate. I got a Red Bull. I got a Monster. I also got a drink called Fuel, which was a shot. An energy shot, of course. Not like something in a syringe or anything. That would be just very weird and sketchy. But I got these drinks here. I assembled a small amount, nothing huge, but a small amount. Got the camera. I thought, alright, I'll set them up. Set these videos up probably in this room here, in the office, you know, where my computer is, and get that taken care of. So I got it set up. I didn't have a tripod by then, so I needed someone to hold it. And admittedly, in the first few videos, my mother held the camera person. And you know, the folks, they were supportive of the channel. They don't care for it so much anymore. I unfortunately came to that realization. But they're entitled to their opinion, as I am entitled to mine. But they were supportive back then, at least, and that's nice. And I decided to film the first review. So I sat down on February 20th, 2011, wearing the suit that I wore that day. Back then, the whole suits that I wore, that was just what I wore, still is. So no change to that. Sat down and I reviewed 5-hour energy orange. But wait a minute, some people might say. Actually, no one would say that, but if you looked, you'll notice there's an error. Wait a minute. That's not right. You just said that in the first review you reviewed 5 Hour Energy orange flavor. But you actually reviewed 5 Hour Energy pomegranate. Is there something wrong here? Well, here's what happened. I sat down. My first go at filming was a failure. We sat down, but instead of holding the camera vertically, which you need to in order to film it with the flip, we held it horizontally because it would be a tighter, more compact shot. So we filmed it. I sat there, I reviewed the beverage, and then I found out, because nowadays, if I made the first video today, this can easily be solved in YouTube's editor. You could just rotate the video, it's fine. But back then, YouTube didn't really have an editor, and the tools I had on my computer wouldn't do a darn thing about it. So I looked, and I found out the footage was sideways, and there was nothing I can do about it with the first video. And I was out of the 5 Hour Energy orange. And I was upset. I was upset. I wasn't angry, but I was frustrated. I thought, I can't believe this. My first attempt at trying to do something with YouTube utterly failed. I just screwed up. And my morale was actually pretty low then. I thought, you know what, I tried this, and it didn't even work out the first time. But I gave it about an hour, and I thought, alright, we'll give it another go. This time we'll hold it vertically, and I'll try the 5 Hour Energy pomegranate. I tried it. The video was filmed, and I thought, you know, that was okay. And I'll make a few more videos, and maybe I'll make a video every week. You know, it's a good period of time to do it, once a week. Every Sunday, how about that? That's what I thought. Every Sunday I'll do it. So that was the afternoon. That was around 3 p.m. on the 20th. And I thought, okay, well, I'll upload it in the evening. But I gotta make a YouTube account first. I gotta make a YouTube channel. What are we gonna call this? I thought maybe, you know, I'm doing one review per week. That'll be the upload schedule. How about I call it the weekly review? Name taken. Okay, well, I mean, they're reviews, but how about maybe they're reports, you know, can kind of be like a report. How about the weekly report? Taken. Okay, it's a little bit of a longer name, but how about the report of the week? I mean, that's kind of concise. It so explains what the channel is. Ooh, that's available. I'm going to take it. So I got the name The Report of the Week for YouTube, and I uploaded the first video. A week went by. I filmed the second review, Monster Energy. And that's when I started to realize, after I filmed the second review, I already had realized, you know what? This is actually kind of fun, and maybe it'll be something that won't be just a few videos. Maybe it'll be something more than that. Maybe I'll just make it my channel. I remember after filming that second review for Monster, I know the review itself wasn't the best one, but I had just started reviewing, of course, so forgive me. But I just remember sitting there thinking, you know, I kind of like this. It was actually pretty fun to be able to be in front of that camera and then to upload it to YouTube. I thought, that's pretty crazy. I remember thinking this as soon as I made the channel, but also thinking that even then, I thought, you know, wouldn't that be something if I can just make YouTube my thing, and if the channel actually got recognized at some point. But I thought those are just pipe dreams. I'll just, you know, do this for a few videos, and that'll be it. third video I did on a rainy Sunday for a little energy shot called Fuel, and it was awful. I hated it, and you can see my little childlike freak out for that video. And then the reviews, they started making them more, you know. Energy drink review number 4, I think that was for Venom energy drink, Black Mamba. Review 5 was for Red Bull. Review 6 was, of course, for AMP. And then from there I started uploading on a little bit of a schedule. And by the 6th review, I decided this isn't going to be a little study regarding energy drinks anymore. It's going to be my YouTube channel, and I'll upload as I please. But this is just going to be like a little hobby now. I'm just going to, you know, maybe be a little online reviewer and review some energy drinks when they come out, when I want to. I'll try to stick to one per week, but time permitting, maybe I have to be one every 2 weeks. But I'm going to do it, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, one little piece of trivia that I've never really shared. And I know the energy drink reviews aren't as prevalent as they are now, but this originally was an energy drink review channel, not a food review channel. Food reviews overtook the energy drink reviews in late 2012, early 2013, and ever since then, the food reviews have been in the lead, with now energy drink reviews becoming more and more rare, though they're still going to happen. But originally the channel was an energy drink review channel, and that's all that I focused on, energy drinks. And that said, if you've watched the energy drink reviews, you know I always started out the same way. I always say, hello everyone, this is Energy Crisis, the energy drink report. And the first time I used that intro was in my second energy drink review. Before that, in the first review ever, I said, hello everyone, this is Energy Crisis. And that's it. But believe it or not, the usage of the word report, the energy drink report, actually was by mistake. I stumbled over my words when I was giving that intro, and I meant to say, hello everyone, this is Energy Crisis, the energy drink review. But I realize now report actually sounds a lot more smooth in terms of that sentence. Or maybe it's just because that's what I've always said, I don't know, but that's what I went with. And following that, I thought, you know what, well, I screwed up, but I kind of like the way it sounds, energy drink report, so we'll go with that. That'll be that. Anyway, time went by, and I'm not going to share every little detail. It's going to be an abridged history, but I'm still going to share it, especially for any new viewers who want to hear it, or any long-time viewers that want to get refreshed. And, you know, it's a tale that I tell a little different every time, so I try to throw in some new facts so it's not the same boring story over and over again. Anyway, so as I said, time progressed, and the channel wasn't that big at all. I had no subscribers, and I would get, you know, maybe between 0 and 10 views per video. No comments left, no subscribers, so who knows how many of those views per the videos are actually my own, or just someone passing through not saying anything. I still do not know to this day. But by mid-April 2011, I got my first subscriber, and the channel's still active today. And I still remember my very first subscriber on YouTube. The guy's name was Stan, and I think he had a YouTube channel called World of Magic or something, or Stan's Magic Channel or something, but he was an amateur magician, and, you know, YouTube channel going. He was the first person ever to subscribe to me. I don't know if he's still subscribed anymore. I'm not going to ask him and find out. I'm not going to say, hey, yo, Stan, you still subscribe to me? I'm not going to say that, of course. If he is, he is. If he's not, he's not. But I remember he was my very first subscriber ever. His name was Stan. And he didn't ever comment. I know he wasn't any sort of bot or anything. He had a legitimate YouTube channel. He'd make little videos. So I know he was real. Still is. He still makes the occasional video. But I know he watched at least a few reviews. You know. So things, after Stan subscribed, things were still pretty quiet with the channel. I still uploaded. Nothing crazy, just the review occasionally. No one commented, no one liked, no one else really subscribed. Back when YouTube did have the feature to add people as friends, I did have a few friends that were added. They were just channels. They were just these very, very weird little channels. I'll tell you about them in a bit. My first big break, you can say, happened in May of 2011. Now, back then, of course, I know I had the baby face. I looked like I was 11 years old. But I was older. I was still in high school, yeah. You know, I'm self-employed now. I'm just doing my thing. But back then, of course, I was in high school. Granted, much later in my high school career than some would assume, because of my looks and how young I look. I mean, people still tell me I look like a 12-year-old, even though now they're off by more than 10 years. It's, oh well. But anyway, I wasn't really known for anything in high school. I wasn't bullied or anything, but I was just that quiet kid that nobody knew a damn thing about, you know? Nobody knew anything. I was completely and totally socially inept. I mean, at least now, I still am, but at least now I can either talk about the channel, I can talk about Shortwave, I can talk about food, I can talk about suits, I can talk about a few things at least. But back then, there was nothing I can talk about. I can say, oh, well, I study maps. I mean, you're in high school, who the hell could you talk to like that? No one. You know, people are so judgmental in high school, too. I couldn't, you know, of course, I didn't really have any friends. I was just that quiet kid that no one knew anything about. And because no one knew anything about this quiet kid, no reason to talk to him, so I left him alone. Nothing to really bully me about, because no one knew anything about me. Well, what ends up happening one day is, of the few people who I associated with, who I'd consider acquaintances, I was just talking, and he mentions to me in conversation, he says, hey, John, dude, I don't know if you know, I was surfing YouTube the other day, and I came across this channel, and the dude looks just like you, and he's doing these energy drink reviews. Is that you? And he said, oh, wow, that's me, yeah. You know, just, you don't have to really tell anyone about it. It's just me doing my thing. I did start up a little YouTube channel a couple months ago, and I'm just, reviewing energy drinks. Well, he blabbed to everyone. He said, yo, there's a John kid who I knew nothing about. He's got a freaking YouTube channel, yo. Check it out, The Report of the Week. And sure enough, everyone in the school checked it out. Everyone. And that was a big spike for me. I only had one subscriber and really no one watching before then. And then all of a sudden, all these people from the school suddenly start watching, and everyone who's got a YouTube channel subscribes, they comment. Again, I've always had this, some of course ironically, but others were very supportive, friendly. There was one guy I knew who actually made a background for my channel, a real neat one. I got rid of that in 2014, of all things. I still had it for a while, I only got rid of it in 2014 when the YouTube layout changed. I really couldn't have it anymore. It didn't work. But I had it. And, it was pretty nice. It was nice. I had a little audience now. Everyone, of course, knew me personally, but I had a little bit of an audience in 2011 of, some people from the school. And a few of them asked for shout-outs, and again, I was still very inept. A lot of them are just casual shout-outs, but a few of them were shout-outs for very obvious things that were very innuendous, which I had no idea about, so they kind of got a one-up on me there and kind of made fun of me that way, but, you know, I know better now, and I got rid of all that, all those videos, and it's a silly conjecture, that's all. Well, anyways, that went on, and then eventually, over the course of the summer of 2011, they were still subscribed. They'd view every now and then, but they mostly forgot about the channel. As 2011 went on, I was just doing my thing. I was uploading energy drink reviews. Thanks to all the people from the school watching, that kind of boosted my channel a little bit, maybe in terms of searches, because over the course of 2011, a few random online viewers did discover the channel. Most memorably was one individual who called himself a well-dressed lad. He was, of course, from the UK. You could probably tell with the terminology lad. And he was a suit enthusiast around my age. And he was very happy to see, very happy to see someone who was wearing suits casually as well. And he became a regular viewer. At least until 2013. I don't think he's watching anymore. But again, he's one of those original viewers that I still remember, very fondly so, in my mind. And hey, if you're listening, write me. You were a good man. You were a good viewer, very respectful person. You were part of that core fan base from the early days. Anyways. So, things progressed, and then in late 2011 I decided, you know what, I've been doing energy drink reviews for a while now. I'm going to take a crack at food reviewing, and I'm going to try it out. I think it'll be a fun thing to do. Maybe it'll attract a few more viewers, because everyone's got to eat. And I'll call the series Running on Empty Food Review. So, very, very late 2011, almost in 2012, I decided to start out the Running on Empty series, which, of course, is now the channel's most popular feature. And I started out with McDonald's. And I always used to start it out with a nice line that said, "Hello, everyone, this is Running on Empty Food Review. Boy, am I hungry. It's time to refuel." That's what I started out saying, but I got rid of that eventually, but so I used to do it. And into 2012, I began with that. And I went through the whole McDonald's menu, and then I stopped for a while, took a little break, went strictly back to energy drinks. Then I decided to play around with things a little more. After the channel was a year old, I thought, this is my channel. I can do with it what I want, within reason, of course. I tried food reviews. I'm still doing the energy drink reviews. I kind of want to do lectures. So, sure enough, I made a lecture in 2012, which no one knows exists, about straws. And then after that, made another lecture, and I thought that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll organize these into an organized lecture series. So, sure enough, I thought, well, I can call this The Idle Mind. It'll be like an organized lecture series, kind of with some humor in there, too, talking about mundane topics. Thus, The Idle Mind was born in September of 2012. I played with that a bit. I wanted to do 100 lectures, but I realized that was just too much. I set the expectations too high. So I'm going to do a lecture every day for 100 days, but it was just too much work. I had to film about 10 clips per video, edit them together, put it up. I can do that nowadays, I don't have any commitments to deal with, and this channel's what I do, so I could commit myself to that. I can do that. It'd still be a lot of work, though, and it'd take a lot of time to do. Though I do want to do more Idle Minds one day. Maybe in November, I was thinking. But anyway, The Idle Mind was born in September of 2012. By then, there was still a small collection of viewers, only around maybe 150 subscribed or so. Not many, as I reiterate, but there were a few. And usually now there were some likes and a few comments left on every video. All of them respectful, all of them very nice and friendly. And I appreciated all of them. There were a few nasty ones here and there, but that's just how it is. Then I decided to quit the idle mind, and I went back to energy drink reviews for a bit. And then I went back to food. And in late October of 2012, I decided, you know, I'm going to try out the pan pizza from Domino's. I filmed it. I put on my 4-button Steve Harvey 3-piece suit. Now, I got inspiration for that look. I did. I admit I did. There was a video in that part of 2012, late 2012, that was spread online of some, back then I would take more inspiration stylistically from videos that I saw. And there was one video of it was a comedy video of I forget what religion, some religious group that was giving some sort of lectures, and everyone was making fun of them because they're so silly looking and outrageous. But I remember the guy in the video was wearing a suit. It was a gray suit, 3 or 4 button. It was a very high button stance with smaller lapels. He was wearing like a white or a grayish shirt and a solid red tie. I thought to myself, I want to give that look a go, and I'm going to kind of wear something like that in my next video, because I think I kind of like that look. And granted, it would look okay if I was standing straight up in the video, because the jacket then would kind of fall and have a drape to it. It wouldn't really bunch up at all. If anything, at least from the waist up, it would look okay. So I put on a white shirt, a solid red tie, the vest, double-breasted, pants, of course, and the 4-button jacket, and I buttoned all 4 buttons, sat down, and I did the review. Well, what ended up happening, no one cared to begin with. I remember before the video blew up, it did have a little more views than some of the previous videos that I did. It had around 500 views, which for a channel that had, 170 subscribers at that point, and maybe usually like 20 to 100 views per video, 500 was a pretty big outlier there. So, of course, I went ahead and I uploaded it. The few regular viewers that commented were fine with it. They liked the review. They said it's a pretty good review. Some guy made a little joke about how I always eat the breadsticks in the car. Would always eat a few before I would get home. But, just nice, playful stuff. Friendly comments. So, continued. The channel went on. December of 2012, reviewed some other items. Some frozen wings. Made a New Year's video, which at the time was a pretty popular one, where I kind of just gave random monologues, poking fun at some products. The new year rolled around, 2013, started out just like 2012 did. Again, very small collection of viewers, a few friendly comments left here and there, and uploaded a review for some TGI Fridays wings. I didn't upload anything since then, and everything was very calm with the channel. Now, because it was a smaller channel, I'd only get maybe 1 comment every 3 days, and 1 subscriber every 4 days. It was very, very low activity. And as a result, I felt comfortable with having the feature in which every time something happens with the channel, I get an email notification saying what happens. So say YouTube user test account 001 subscribes to me, I'll get an email saying user test account 001 subscribes to me, right? I bet some of you guys still get those emails. I used to. Sometimes I'll switch that feature on again for fun, and I'll see the frequency which they come in at, how many an hour, etc. But back then, it was just so few that I always had it set like that. I would be curious to see, when they would show up. Well, it's one morning. I believe it's January 14th. Maybe it was the 15th or 16th. I don't have the exact date on me. But one of those days, I wake up in the morning. I check my email, expecting nothing. And it is flooded. And I mean absolutely inundated. Pages and pages and pages of emails from YouTube with notifications. I had never, ever seen anything like that before. So I was absolutely flabbergasted. I mean, I was just shocked, truth be told. Just shocked. Okay. I see all these emails, pages worth, hundreds of emails that came in this one day. Span of hours. I went to bed that night around midnight, maybe? And that next morning around, I think it was 8:30 a.m., just hundreds of emails that came in. I checked the comments, flooded with comments, especially the pan pizza review. And then I see a comment mentioning Reddit. I've heard of Reddit, but I never really went. I wasn't an internet-savvy person at all, I check Reddit, and I find out that there's a video of mine that was posted there. And I see it has all these comments and upvotes and all of this. I am shocked. I really am. I check the video, it had 500 views. I refresh it. Now it has around 7,000. Oh my goodness, I thought. 7,000 views on a single video. That's nuts. Alright. I head out. Later in the day, I check back around 1 p.m. 60,000 hits. And counting. And now I have over 1,000 subscribers. I mean, that is just incredible. I was just shocked. I didn't know why they were all, going to this video and why the channel was blowing up like that, but I'd never known anything like it. I go back that evening, I'm responding to comments, I'm checking it out. Continues going. Barstool Sports picks up on the video, College Humor picks up on the video. The thing on Reddit keeps going. I get an email from Jay Leno's show inviting me on. I get requests from these products all of a sudden. The video essentially went viral on Reddit because of the fact that I was wearing this suit, which I really did pick out to go with a certain look, but I did it the wrong way, and I had it all buttoned up, and it just bunched up on me because it looked so oversized. And yeah, I know people always say your suits today are oversized, but if you see that one, you will see that it really is a bit big because I have it buttoned up like that. It doesn't have the ability to fall at all. It just bunches up on me. All because I was, number one, I guess, of the suits, number two, my mannerisms, and number three, simply because the suits were oversized and I looked like the spurgy, little kid playing grown-up on YouTube. And people made fun of me for it. And people were ruthless. They were relentless. And a lot of these hate comments from Reddit and all these different sites came at a frequency of which I had never seen before. So much hatred coming my way. And if you heard earlier in the lecture, if you remember, I was talking about Elvis and what he did and all of that, and my attitude toward it is much different, granted now. And I've learned to just accept it and go along with it and make the best of it. But back then it was a different thing, and I thought to myself, I was personally... Sorry there, I realize this microphone is so darn sensitive, I apologize. So I bet when I hit it with my hand like that, it Sounds awful. Anyways, I was just so sensitive to comments and to hatred especially, that I was personally offended and insulted by every mean, nasty comment and message that I got. And I got hundreds of those over the course of just 4 or 5 days. And I kind of got a big head from it all, too. Thought, wow, the channel's really blowing up. This is it, guys. Wow. You know, I'm finally getting what I deserve for all of this. And I got a cocky attitude. And what ended up happening after the channel blew up so quickly, it was something I wasn't prepared for. Something that I wasn't prepared for. Something I didn't know how to handle. I handled it the wrong way. And I needed a break. I couldn't deal with it. So I made the channel private for a while, made everything private, kind of stopped the influx in its tracks. And then, after a few months break, in 2013, in March, I reactivated the channel, uploaded everything again, made everything public, and I started doing these energy drink reviews again. Channel was much slower by then, of course, but I did have some core support still from now the bodybuilding community. The bodybuilding MISC was very big fans of my channel. That's how the name Review Bra came along, actually. Because over at bodybuilding.com, they referred to a lot of people as bra. You know, they had this bra, that bra, you know. Well, I did reviews, and the name came about that I was Review Bra. I thought that's a pretty funny little name. We'll go along with that. And now it's funny how that's unanimous with the channel. But back then, Review Bra was simply only used by the bodybuilders, and that was it. Okay. So after I reactivated the channel, of course, it wasn't growing anywhere near the rate that it was growing at in 2012, of course. Maybe it's still growing, though. And with that being said, of course, you know, it wasn't, I reiterate, wasn't growing as much, but there were still people watching, and now I was getting around to 1,000 to 2,000 views per video, which was massive in turn, or in comparison to, you know, the 100 I was getting before it all happened. So, it was a big increase. And I realized, you know, I have an audience now. I have a pretty big audience now. It's crazy. So I began uploading again on a weekly basis still. Though soon, around mid-2013, that changed, and I started uploading more than that. And I tried to alternate every other week. Food review, energy drink review. Food review, energy drink review. I alternated every other week doing that. There was one change, however, and that was that comments were disabled. I realized, you know, these comments, they really got to me. They really bothered me. I'm going to keep them disabled for my own good, so that my morale isn't too low for this channel. I know they'll say what they say, but they can do it somewhere else. So comments were disabled from March of 2013 onward. Okay. Mid-2013, same as always. Energy drink reviews, food reviews. Had an audience now, kept doing that. Then late 2013 came in, and that was the next big thing that happened with this channel. And enter 4chan. It had to have been from the supporters on bodybuilding.com, the MISC section, that also frequented Fit on 4chan, the fitness board. There must have been a lot of cross-posters, because that's when 4chan entered the scene. I first noticed it in September of 2013. And I remember seeing on some of my reviews an influx of hits and a small influx of subscribers too. By then, I was getting maybe 20 subscribers a day. Well, I noticed there would be some days where I'd be getting 75 subscribers a day. Okay. and the review would suddenly go from 2,000 views to 8,000. And I didn't know why. I would search Review Bra and the Report of the Week on Google. Nothing would come up, no results. But I would check the YouTube statistics, and it would sometimes show you if a video was linked from a site, what site they would come from. And I kept seeing this name 4chan coming up. I didn't really know anything about 4chan. I thought I heard some news story from like 5 years ago about like some 13-year-old that committed suicide because of 4chan or something. But what the heck is 4chan exactly? I had no idea. I didn't know what it was. I mean, now I think 4chan is a lot more well-known today than it was back in 2013. I think so. Especially with everything going on in the political world, how 4chan is literally influencing, you know, the Donald Trump campaign, and just some of those boards are extremely powerful forces, to be honest, especially, of course, Poll. No matter your thoughts on it, it's a very big board, and it's continually making the news, some of the things that they do. So I think 4chan is a lot more well-known today than it was back in 2013. But I had no idea what 4chan was. Well, one day I made the mistake of going there. And I say the mistake because I explained how I kind of handled negativity. Well, I wasn't ready for what I saw. See, the one thing with 4chan is the anonymity feature. No usernames, no way to identify who's posting. People will be able to speak their mind and say what they want to say. Now, there's a lot of trolls there too, but there's a lot of people who feel comfortable giving honest opinions because there's no penalty to it, so they may say things that they wouldn't ever say on any bodybuilding forum or anything like that. But one day I got lucky. It was in the afternoon, and I was sitting there. I decided to search up the channel again, and I got a fresh link from 4chan.com. 4chan.org.com. Oof, my mistake there. And I see it's to a thread on this fit board, and I wasn't sure how the site worked at first, but I was scrolling down, and I saw that there were posts kind of coming in fresh. And what I saw, it just made me feel very depressed. Really hit home to me. Because I always had the impression that these people that commented on the pan pizza review from Reddit and these sites, that was as bad as it was going to get. I was so horribly mistaken by it, though. When I was reading these comments on 4chan, they were so vulgar and offensive. People saying that if they saw me in person, they would just sucker punch me. They hate me that much. And telling me all these horrible, horrible things about me. I read that, I was crushed. I was depressed. I was crushed. I was upset too. And with that came the era in which 4chan really influenced the channel. Because I thought, well, maybe it's a one-time thing. Maybe it'll go away. But all of these threads were receiving continually 300 replies. And with 4chan, when some thread receives 300 replies, people are talking about it. That's a popular thread right there. Each thread was just reaching that number. A lot of people were talking about this. And every new review I posted, people were reposting it on 4chan right away, continually. And really nothing good to say about it. So I made the mistake, and I thought, I hate this. I'm going to take on 4chan. Well, that never works. So you know what happened. I kind of said some things about him. Even went on 4chan a few times with a little trip code. And I tried to combat it myself. That didn't work. The insults that they replied with back are even worse than what I thought they were the last time. And that just made me really depressed. It made me end up hating myself and hating the world, hating the internet. It was a horrible, horrible feeling that all these people are just saying these things about you. They're insulting you just because of how you are, just because of what you enjoy doing. And it was very, very crushing. And from September of 2013 all the way until March of 2014, I was just very, very depressed. Every day I just wanted to kill myself, wanted to die, all because of their comments on 4chan. It was a horrible, horrible feeling. It just made me just feel awful every single day about myself. I hated them. I just hated the internet. I hated the world. And I also hated myself, of course. I would always blame myself for the things that they said. You know, I wouldn't just dismiss it as just garbage now, just ignore it. I would always blame myself, and I'd say, you know, yeah, it's true, I am this way, I'm screwed up, I'm you know, this and that. And I would get really down on myself. But I knew there were a few genuine fans as well on 4chan, and I imagine one of the last things that kind of saved me was the fact that the comments were still disabled on the videos, so they would just have to take their discussions to 4chan. The Report of the Week subreddit was created in this time as well by 4chaners, the fitness board. That's how it originally was, where they shared some fan art, and I had an account, so I would post there too. And, again, very combative at the time. Well, the channel was just not doing well in terms of my mood and how that was. But I decided to keep doing what I was doing, and I thought, well, maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe one day it'll stop. Well, I got the idea in March of 2014. Sorry. I got the idea in March of 2014 that I was going to utilize this lecture idea from the idle mind, and perhaps I'd make it like a voice, like a podcast type of thing. And I've made countless VORWs talking about the history of VORW, and that's a different story, but again, I had the resources to do it, and I went ahead and did it. The format of the early VORWs is different than the ones today, but the premise is still the same. It's a show of indeterminate length in which I would speak about topics which appeal to me. And that's the show. VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. I started VORW. And just like the idle mind, I burnt myself out quickly. I thought, oh, VORW will be a little show that I'll do every day. I can laugh back at that now, but back then that's what I wanted to do. So I'd talk about miscellaneous topics, kind of like the idle mind. I would call it quits, and then I would upload that. And for about a week or two, all I uploaded were the VORWs. Well, little did I know that this 4chan influx, and this was the way to repel it, really. Because a lot of these people who were really the haters, I'm not talking about the actual people from 4chan that liked the videos, because there were a lot that did, but the most vocal people were the ones that, of course, didn't like me or the videos either. However, what really came of it was that all the haters left. Because I was uploading these long VORWs that no one was going to bother to listen to. So they just left. They stopped watching. Did I lose viewers? Absolutely, but it didn't hurt me in any because they were the people that were really hurting me the most. So I started VORW a bit. Then I kind of stopped. Then I lost morale too. I got depressed again. I thought I'm going to close this channel down. But instead I took a break. And I thought in late April of 2014, I'm going to get back into this. I will. I will. And with that, I came back, started doing reviews again, and from that point on, my morale was pretty high from that point forward. Okay? Summer of 2014 rolled around, and that's what I call the golden age of the channel. In terms of the channel, I was making a video every single day, from probably mid-June to mid-September, or actually early October 2014, uploading every day. Food review, VORW. Food review, VORW. I had people that wrote in now, a very loyal, dedicated, mature, respectable fan base, very friendly. They use the channel with dignity. It really reminds me now of my old fan base from 2012. Very, very few trolls, no incidents, no problems. Channel was doing great. Then my own health kind of turned against me in October of 2014 into November, and the channel really slowed a bit by then, and my own health got in the way of things. But by December I'd recovered again. I was no longer uploading at the frequency which I wanted to, or which I had at that point, but I was still getting the videos up, and I still did have at least a little bit of a following at that point. So, that being said, 2015 rolls around. Make some videos saying what I expect for the year, and it continues just as 2014 did at that point. Uploaded periodically, again, a few videos per week, but nothing crazy. VORWs even more periodically. The one big thing that changed in early 2015, and I still did upload YouTube VORWs and food reviews, with an emphasis especially on frozen food, like frozen pizzas, the occasional energy drink in there too. In early 2015, I got the VORW show on Shortwave. 5110 kilohertz was the frequency, 50 kilowatts of power, beamed to North America from 11 p.m. to midnight, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that was really the focus of my attention from January to July of 2015. I operated this VORW radio show. I was on the air every Tuesday and Thursday evening, and in that hour-long block that I had on this WBCQ station, it's the one I was on, I would read the news, I would lecture for about the first 10 minutes too, and then I'd just DJ and I'd play music for a while, give out my email address, I'd send out QSL cards, and I had my own radio show on the air every week, twice a week. Now, it cost a lot of money. Well, not as much. I had a great special, which is why I was able to afford it in the first place, but I'd say about $1,500 was fueled in there. But it was a very fun experience too, to be on the air twice a week, every week for months. To be able to make my radio programs, upload them, and then be able to tune in and listen to them, and have other people listening in as well at that point. I know, I bet there's one or two people listening right now who might be saying, oh, damn, you know, wish I could listen to this VORW show on the air. Well, the opportunity presents itself every now and again where I do have shortwave broadcasts, where I do broadcast on the air, but it is a lot rarer than it once was in 2015, and for that I apologize. It's just I'm trying to save money, and broadcasting on shortwave really isn't any way to do that, you know. Shortwave costs money, but still, I do have some cash saved that I'll be able to put ahead for some shortwave broadcasts, maybe in November, maybe December, we'll see, but at some point I will get back on the air for some special transmissions, maybe. We'll see. But I had this VORW radio show going on shortwave, my favorite medium. I had a bit of a following on the air as well. Not as big as the YouTube by any means, but I did have regular shortwave listeners exclusively, who would actually write in every week, like kind of like the fan mail I have for VORW. And it was a nice little, you know, thing I had going. As a result of putting so much attention, however, to the shortwave show, the channel was kind of neglected a bit, and some of the YouTube viewers weren't too happy about that there weren't as many food reviews and VORWs as there once were, and also not as many people were interested in shortwave radio either, so some people were upset at that. Well, I decided to cut the shortwave broadcasts, and you know, in early July of 2015. And at that point, the channel had really stopped growing. There was a time back then where I was getting around 2,000 subscribers a month, which is great growth It really is. 24,000 subscribers a year, mostly. Great number to have, great number to be with. But because I neglected the channel a bit, and was focusing only on the shortwave programs, the growth really slowed. In April and May of 2015, I only got around 300 subscribers in an entire month. And that's still good, you're in the green, that's a good thing. But you can see, compared to that growth back then, that really is a very, very sharp decline. Okay. There was a big decline in the channel then, and after I stopped with the shortwave programs, I thought, you know what, I'm going to reaffirm my commitment to the YouTube channel. The shortwave programs were very, very fun, but they're very costly, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start saving money, maybe even trying to make a little from the channel. So I'm going to try to monetize now, set up that AdSense, even a little Patreon if people want to help support the channel themselves. And I'm going to reaffirm my commitment to this channel. I'm going to try to revitalize it. I'm going to reaffirm my commitment to the channel by now focusing more exclusively, instead of frozen food, I'm going to focus on fast food, specifically new releases and popular items. And revitalize it I did. You know, I had the focus of the channel now as the fast food and energy drinks. Specifically now, the focus of fast food, popular items and new releases, and some specialty items as well. And I also decided to comically do a water review as well. And I know some people will try to debate with that review that, you know, it's him playing a character, that's all that it is. But really, I know I'm weird, but I sometimes have a sense of humor as well. And sometimes I like to just give a little silly review that's, you know, just me reviewing some water, like it's an energy drink, and, you know, people would say, I can't believe he's actually doing that. But that's just me jokingly doing that, and that's just me having some fun, that's all. The channel continued into 2016, and in early 2016 I decided to give Tosh.0 a go, which was a good experience, except the fact that they promised me that that they'd mention my channel name and they'd plaster it all over the channel and that I'd get tremendous publicity to the channel, but they absolutely lied to me there, which is very, very rotten of them to do that, and absolutely nothing came of it. I didn't go there with the intention of that. I went in there thinking, you know, there'd just be a fun experience, but to have them just lie to my face like that and tell me I'm going to get something out of it when, you know, nothing at all did, is a disappointment. That's an understatement, really. Okay, and let's see, well, got the Tosh.0 taken care of, and admittedly this final segment of the of this broadcast I'm recording a little bit later. I had to clear the memory of this, had to get the files transferred to the computer and all that. So there's a little shower outside right now. But anyway, so we got the Tosh.0 taken care of. What else was there for 2016? Well, 2016 with the channel, of course, I bounced around a little bit. I bounced around from location to location. I tried to vary my, what I was doing. I did some reviews in public. Did some reviews here, did some reviews there, tried some different chains, picked up some different suits. Of course, in February of 2016, I got, the channel reached 5 years in age, and on February 20th, of course, I had a special 5-year anniversary review. And also, I did have a special 5-year shortwave broadcast on 7490 and 7570 kilohertz. On shortwave for that. Otherwise, reviews continued, things continued. In early June or mid-June, I had another shortwave transmission, 6070, 6005, 15780 and 7490 kilohertz were the frequencies there. Summer of 2016 went pretty well. Had a few little incidents, but those are all said and done and over with. And let's see what else we have. Then following that, of course, in September, and I know I talked about this a lot in the beginning of the video, so I don't have really, these are recent events. Of course, we have the CNN interview and Elvis the Aliens video. And then most recently, of course, there was the death of the recorder and hopefully the birth of a new and I don't want to say improved, but a new and functioning recorder. Functioning, doing its job as it should, hopefully. Feedback about it is greatly appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where we are. So here I sit on this evening outside recording this VORW. Anyway, that's what we have. That's what we have with the channel. That's the story of this channel. If there's anything I want to change with this channel for the future, I just want to reaffirm my commitment to it. I really do. I want to keep doing this. I promised you all, especially with the VORWs, that would be on a regular basis. And also that if you write in, you'll get your email or letter responded to. And I want to do that. Next show, as I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to respond to your letters. I'm going to read them. I'm going to take as long as I have to take to do it. Because I think you deserve that. You put your time and effort to writing into this show. I'm going to put my time and effort into responding to your letters. I am, and I stand by that, and I promise you that. On a final note, one last thing I want to express is, if you've made it this far into the video, I consider you a loyal fan and a true supporter, and I just want to let you know, if you comment regularly, if you write to this channel regularly, if you email for the VORWs or write in regularly, I want to let you know that your support does not go unnoticed. I really do recognize you and remember you as a supporter and as a familiar face to this channel, and I completely mean it. So don't think that, you're just supporting this channel for, just know that your support doesn't go unnoticed and it doesn't go unrecognized. I remember you, and I truly am thankful and gratitude, and I give my gratitude to you for your support and for just sticking in there, for your commitment to this channel. I really, truly mean it. And, I know this channel has gone through some rough times. It's gone through some dark times before, and it's just truly because of people like you that I keep this channel going for. I think, there may be a lot of people ironically watching this channel, sarcastically writing and leaving comments, just being jerks. But I realize, there's also people out there that are true, genuine supporters. People just like you. And it's because of people like you that I just keep this channel going for. That gives me the motivation, the support, and the morale to just continue doing what I'm doing here, and to keep this channel the way it is, and to keep it up, running, alive and well. And I truly want to offer my sincerest thank yous to all of you. Thank you, and I mean it. I know I've said thank you many times before in the 100,000 subscriber video, but I really do mean it. Thank you. Thank you. That being said, if there's one other thing I might want to do with the channel in the future is to be able to add or work on the idle mind again, and to get a few of those going. And also, if I ever do end up making enough money to do it, right now I still have a lot of expenses. I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll tell you this. Traveling and moving and just getting around, and it's expensive. It's very expensive. It tacks up a lot of expenses. It really does. I mean, right now I'm trying to, I'm trying to look for places. I'm trying to just, get my feet on the ground and relocate, travel around a bit too. And, it racks up expenses. Hotels, sometimes gas, food, bills, taxes, etc. I can't afford shortwave broadcasts. I can't, you know. I look at my expenses and I have to say, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to buy food for a week and have some money for the channel, or blow $100 over to broadcast to Asia? And of course, any reasonable response would be the first. And, you know, just the way things are, I can't afford to do any shortwave broadcasts. Thanks to your Patreon support, of course, I do have a little bit of a fund on the side for the occasional broadcast, but they really do. They're fun, but they really rake up a lot of money. And, you know, it's something I can go without for now. But if the income ever does provide, perhaps I'll get a shortwave broadcast going again on a weekly basis to North America, or maybe to Europe, or both, perhaps. And, you know, you never know. If I do get this shortwave broadcast ever going again one day, I do promise you one thing. The last time I had the shortwave broadcasts regularly, I know I diverted from the focus of the channel. But I promise you, should I do these shortwave broadcasts again, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to stay as committed to this channel as ever. And I really do want to reaffirm my commitment to it. And it's just what I want to do. I just want to do this channel. I want to manage it. I want to improve it. I'm not going to stop with these videos. I'm going to regularly upload. I'm going to look at suggestions and feedback and even take some of it. And I want to work with you to help improve this channel and to help keep it going. So, of course, any feedback of yours is also greatly appreciated. And I did mention I do want to, you know, do a couple Idle Mind lectures, hopefully next month, and get those up for your viewing pleasure as well. Another thing, I might also maybe add a little bit of a blog to this channel. Now, blogs always have a stigma against them. You know, when you hear something about a blogger, it's always someone just, you know, very, very narcissistic. But if I do a blog to go along with this channel, it would just be articles that I would write for fun about either various meals. You know, it'd be written reviews. I would write articles sometimes about shortwave radio, or I'd suits on occasion, or I'd sometimes also write and share some short stories and other works of literature which I might have created. Okay, so that's what I got for you there. But that's just in the planning stages. But it's an idea, something I could also do. And that's really what I got. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. If you would like to contact us, you have 3 ways of doing so. YouTube.com/YouTube/TheReportOfTheWeek. Click on the About tab, send message, type the contents in your message and send it off. Or if you're more of an email person, email me at repweekinterview1@gmail.com or vorwinfo@gmail.com. If you're not sure on how to spell the first, it's REPWEEKINTERVIEW1, the number 1, @gmail.com, and no spaces between any of those words. Or vorwinfo@gmail.com, that's vorwinfo@gmail.com. And ladies and gentlemen, if you still are not sure, you can always go to the About section of the channel. Click on the little button that says View Business Email. You may have to fill out the little CAPTCHA, which usually just requires either entering in a little code or picking some pictures of street signs or something. And then you'll be able to actually view the email address as well. So it ought to be fine there. And with that being said, if you do wish to get in contact with me, those are the ways to do so. Of course, if you do wish to leave a comment as well on the video, feel free, but a response from me is not guaranteed. I will respond to some comments, I always do, but do not guarantee a response. It does not guarantee one. Fan art is also appreciated if you are feeling creative and you want to express your creativity in the form of fan art to VORW. That is always appreciated. If you are curious, however, how to send a piece of fan art to me, do not submit it to the subreddit anymore. I do not visit the subreddit anymore, so it is not guaranteed to be viewed by me. However, if you do wish to submit a piece of fan art to me, here's how you do it. Via YouTube. Again, send me a message, but upload the piece of fan art to a third-party image hosting site, such as Imgur, or Imgur, imgur.com, perhaps. Some people send me images via DeviantArt, I think that's the name, if they have an account there and publish their work there, or any third-party image hosting site. You may simply upload the file to that, and then send me in a message the link to your work. Or if you'd prefer, via email, email me at repweekinterview1@gmail.com or vorwinfo@gmail.com. And then you can just simply attach your piece of fan art as a file to the email where I can download it directly. Or if you still want to send me the link from a third-party site, you may do that as well, but that's how you do it. And if you are curious about the differences between vorwinfo@gmail.com and repweekinterview1@gmail.com, because you might say to yourself, why does he have two emails? What's the point of that? Number one, I receive a large volume of letters constantly, and I have these two addresses kind of so that the boxes themselves aren't overly crowded. They're kind of, you'll get a little bit in each, though most letters go to repweekinterview1, but there are some that go to VORW and also the YouTube inbox, so it's just for easier managing purposes. Also, the VORW email address, the VORW info address, is made also for when I do have radio broadcasts. That is the email which I mention on the air, so I can see how many radio listeners contact me when I'm transmitting, to be able to see how high listenership is to these radio broadcasts. Whereas repweekinterview1@gmail.com serves as just the general email address for the channel. So if there are any business offers or offers from companies or the media, those are usually sent to that address. Also, general fan mail, should people wish, is also sent to this address. However, when I'm not broadcasting on the radio, again, VORW info is kind of the second address, which not too many people write to. Some do, as I said, but not too many. So if you really want to stand out and be a shining star, you can write to vorwinfo@gmail.com. There's less people there writing in, so chances are there's a much greater chance that your email won't be missed. So I really don't miss any emails. I read every single one I get. Just saying, in case it gets into like the spam folder or something, because I get more spam messages for the Rep Week interview one as well. So we'll see. If you want to email me, just send it to whatever address you really want to. If you're in a VORW info mood, send it to that. If you're in a Rep Week interview 1 mood, send it to that. If you're in a YouTube mood, send me a YouTube message. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, your comments, questions, general feedback regarding the show is greatly appreciated. You know how to send it. And if you do wish to correspond, it's greatly appreciated. All your messages which you sent me for the last VORW will be read in the next program, as will these letters as well. So it's going to be a very letter-heavy show. Next one will be. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoy it. Until then, which hopefully will be around next week, thank you for listening. This is VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Hope you have a great week ahead of you, great weekend, and next week I'll see you again with another VORW. Assuming this recorder does not break, keep those fingers crossed. And that's all I got for you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. This is VORW, the voice of the report of the week, concluding this broadcast. Thank you, and take care. This is the voice of the report of the week, signing off.